It's always been our goal to understand not just the needs of the industry in terms of development, in terms of programs, but to really address the structural changes that needs to be instituted. We need government's intervention. We need to work together. Private sector and government, we have to work together so that we can elevate our industry. And these policies are needed for us to thrive. And that's the reason why FDCP has been working with Korea, has been working with Singapore, has been working with Malaysia. We're understanding their best practices and understanding how we can adapt it to our local industry.
Our lab is an Asian lab, and the way it's a little bit different from, say other labs outside is that we are not just labs that concentrate on films that has to go to these big A-list festivals. We also want projects that can actually work within the Asian region, and so they're not like always the art house kind of films, but they're also kind of like, whether it be comedy or horror that can work in a wider context of Asia is something that we are also very active about.
And not thinking that you're making a film for the international market. Make the film for what you believe in. Actually, those surprises are films that were not made to win Oscars. Do your films and then it will go where it should go.
Of sharing, I think, can help you grow, get more confidence, and besides make connections. For me, this kind of collaborative process is very interesting, and I think that's something, as you said, the two of you earlier, which has a kind of a very interesting impact, indeed also, because I think indirectly it does help the local regional film industry to be stronger also.
As a society, we realize with this pandemic that we cannot live in isolation, and the film industries and the TV industries cannot also be in isolation. We really need to sort of like find alliances with all the different industries that are affected and how we all come together to sort of like push our agendas forward. And the key agenda is how to have life resume again the way we had pre-pandemic.
Daw ako'y hindi tumagal dahil ako isang mahirap lang.
Ito ang pinakatakaw at pinakakamot ng bulak sa bilog na ito.
Ano kanya po yung resulta?
Ano? May tanggap ka.
Ang tawag to ay intindi kung ano tawag na waiter.
Hindi ako takot po. Mahusgahan lang ng tao.
Wala sa baho sa Panginoon sa mga
sa kadako sa kalibutan, makatultol gyapon sila silang salag.
I will show you something if you send the money.
Narinig mo ako? Wait lang, ma. Para kaming basura dito ni tinapon lang.
Sa pagkatang araw na to, ay inilaan na para sa'yo. At habang buhay, ay laging sumasayo.
Wala, bota na si Mrs. ngayon eh. Bukas ka na lang.
Handa ka na ba sa ating showdown?
Girl, I was born ready.
Di man to bata nga nagawan.
Happy magkahap ka. Happy ka.
Walang kalimutan.
Ano kaya nangyari sa mga tao, no? Saan kaya sila nagpunta?
Galit na galit at malaking dragon na may diwata na pinangko.
Kon, ayaw nagtubuhat na balik, okay?
Mabdos ko.
Sa? Pag-sure, oy! Asa mo na nabi?
Magpapatuloy ako. Pwede mo ba akong samahan?
Binenta naman kasi. Hindi iniwan.
Aabot din tayong lahat kahit iba-iba tayo ng uri.
Kuya, laro.
Sabi nga ayoko!
Kinakausap mo na naman ba yung mga laruan mo?
You should really catch up.
For more details on Ific, please check our official social media accounts. Facebook page www.facebook.com/IficPHOfficial, Twitter @IficPHOfficial, and Instagram IficPHOfficial. To register for Ific public sessions and masterclasses, visit our website at fdcp.ph/Ific. Check out the full lineup of public sessions and masterclasses for this year's Film Industry Conference. Visit our website at fdcp.ph/Ific. International Film Industry Conference Online 2021 is presented by Film Development Council of the Philippines in partnership with Full Circle Lab Philippines, ASEAN Rock Film Partnership, supported by International Film Commission Partners, Film Philippines Office, Korean Film Council, National Film Development Corporation Malaysia, Singapore Film Commission, and the National Federation of Motion Pictures and Contents Associations, Thailand. International partners, Cannes Next of Marché du Film Festival de Cannes, Hubert Balls of International Film Festival Rotterdam, Netflix, Purin Pictures, SEAFIC Lab, Southeast Asia Pacific Audiovisual Archives Association, Torino Film Lab. Local partners, ABS-CBN Film Restoration Sagip Pelikula, KTX, Philippine Film Archive, TBA Play and TBA Studios, Upstream PH, Viva Communications Inc., Livestream partner, Digital IC3 Productions. Thank you for joining us today. Sit back and relax as we are about to begin. The International Film Industry Conference, or Ific, first conducted by the Film Development Council of the Philippines, or FDCP, in 2017, aims to bring together international and local experts to share and discuss the latest trends, opportunities, platforms, and cooperation globally that producers and filmmakers can explore for the development, production, and distribution of their projects, with the intent of crossing beyond local borders. The Ific strives to continue the synergy of the members of the industry by featuring experts and professionals this September 2021. This event will give a platform to further explore opportunities, challenges, and new norms in the film industry as we push and thrive to move forward in a global pandemic. Film labs are essential training platforms for filmmakers to further strengthen and elevate their talents and projects in development. This gives them the chance to network with various industry players, either local or international, and explore collaboration and making films together. This talk will introduce you to significant film labs in the world and how you can take part in them. Our moderator for this panel is a film producer and alumni from Busan Asian Film School, Berlinale Talents, and Torino Film Lab Script Lab story editor. She produced Iskawags in 2013 and Lily in 2016, and short film Babylon in 2017 that was selected for the 68th Berlinale Film Festival Shorts competition. She is currently developing Keith Deliguero's Babylon into a feature that was selected at IAVE, Ties That Bind 2019, and Locarno Open Doors Lab 2020, and Zurich Chance Cangrejos that was selected at the FDCP's Southern Voices Film Lab, Southeast Asian Fiction Lab, and Hong Kong Asian Film Financing Forum. In between producing films, she helps run the annual Binisaya Film Festival in Cebu City. Let us all welcome Gale Osorio.
I am Gale Osorio, and we are going to talk about film labs and how to nurture your narratives or your stories through them. We have an amazing lineup of speakers tonight. The first one is Mr. Ju Napattaloong. He is a Bangkok-based filmmaker and a lab manager for Southeast Asian Fiction Lab, or SEAFIC. His 2015 short film Motherland premiered at Austin Film Festival and screened at LA Asian Pacific Film Festival, Salento International Film Festival, and Thai Short Film and Video Festival. In 2016, Ju made a Cuban short film, El Cielo, during the Filming in Cuba with Abbas Kiarostami workshop under the mentorship of Abbas Kiarostami himself. He produced Nontawat Numben Chapol's 2019 Thai documentary, Soil Without Land, which premiered at Visions du Real Film Festival. The documentary later competed at DMZ International Documentary Film Festival and received the Special Jury Prize at Taiwan International Documentary Film Festival. Ju was also the film programmer for the SAC Anthropology Center in Bangkok. Please welcome Ju, who is in Bangkok right now. Hi, Ju.
Hi. Thank you so much.
Okay, next we have Ms. Angelica Kantisani. Angelica graduated in Foreign Languages for Communication and Information at Università Cattolica del Sacro Cuore in Milan. In 2008, she obtained a Master in Cinema Communication and Promotion. In the same year, she started working for Film Commission Torino Piemonte as International Events and Projects Coordinator. From 2011, she worked as Office Manager for Filming Europe EU FCN, the Association of the European Film Commissions. At the moment, the association counts for 90 members from 30 European countries, and it's one of the most important realities involved in the promotion of European cinema. Angelica joined Torino Film Lab in 2016, and she is now creative consultant for the lab. Hello, Angelica, all the way from Torino, Italy. Good afternoon.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Okay, our third speaker is Ms. Isabella Igel. Isabella has worked for some of Poland's top TV companies before moving on to focus on film marketing and co-establishing production company Alter Ego in 2011. In 2016, she opened her own company, Harine Films. Her first feature, Floating Skyscrapers, directed by Tomasz Wasilewski, premiered at the Tribeca Film Festival and went on to win the top prize in the East of the West competition at Carlo Vivari International Film Festival, as well as a number of awards for Best Film, Best Actor, Best Director at the film festivals in Poland and abroad. She is co-producing Peers, a Singaporean-Taiwanese-Polish debut film by Nelicia Low. Isabella also serves as a trainer for several institutions, Story Lab, Vida School, and Lodge Film School. Together with Matthew Daraz, she runs Full Circle Lab Philippines. Please welcome Isabella, who is in Poland right now. Good afternoon.
Yes, hi, good afternoon. Sorry for all these super difficult Polish names.
It's fine. Okay, so I'm gonna start right away. I'm gonna let our speakers take the floor. Please introduce the film labs that you are representing. Let's start with one that's close to home. So Full Circle Lab Philippines with Miss Isabella. Now, if I'm correct, Full Circle Lab isn't just in the Philippines. It's an Indonesian edition and a German edition, I think. So maybe start with what is Full Circle Lab and what was the goal behind Full Circle Lab Philippines, and then the 4 labs that you have: Fiction Lab, Series Lab, which I am a part of this year, by the way. I'm so excited. And then you have Producers Lab and First Cut Lab. Please, Miss Izabela.
Yes, hi. So we invented the Full Circle Lab together with Philippines, together with the Film Development Council of the Philippines and Torino Film. And it was created as a program aimed at supporting Filipino filmmakers. But already after the first edition 3 years ago, we said that the Philippines are so rich and diverse and internationally oriented. So we decided it's a perfect place for a hub for all South Asian filmmakers and projects. So we decided to extend our program to all Southeast Asia. So what we are aiming is identifying and training talents in Philippines and South Asia. We also love to support projects from the whole way, from development to the post-production phase, focusing on storytelling. And we, as I said, we also want to foster the internationalization of the Filipino film industry, creating a hub, creative hub in Southeast Asian region. So, as you said, there are 4 models. We have Fiction Lab, Series Lab, Creative Producers Lab, which is a brand new thing, and our old Gale First Cut Lab. So the Fiction Lab welcomes 8 feature films in development, and it combines work in plenary groups and also individual consultation. Each project is followed by 2 mentors. One is on production side and the other is focusing on script development. So we have Ayman Elamir or Helen Beltrameline as a script consultant. And we have Meiske Tauricia or Giovanni Pompili as a producer's consultant. Then from the beginning, we are working with the Series Lab, which is aiming at answering the growing demand for episodic content for VOD platforms and for TV. So every year we welcome 4 series projects, both mini-series or multi-season series are welcome. And the projects, so also you, Gale, you will have like to work with Napattaloong and producer Naomi Levari. I will now tell about something about the First Cut Lab, which is open to 4 feature films, and they are all at the editing stage. And we help creative teams to reach the best shape of the film, together with Matthew Deras and Wim Vanacker serving as the supervisors, and Benjamin Mirget, Agnieszka Glińska, Katalin Justiciu serving as editor consultants. And the last but not least, this year nouvelle is Creative Producers Lab, which I'm especially proud of because this is also a lab I'm co-running. And we were supposed to welcome 5 producers, but we received a lot of great application. So we decided to select 8 projects. So there will be almost 2 weeks lab with the great talents from Philippines and South Asia. Southeast Asia, because for us it's very important to develop projects, but if you don't have the industry and the people who are able to run them, it's not a perfect situation. So we kind of aim to create, to bring new talents, new producers, and we are also our aim is to make a collaboration more possible. So yeah, these are the labs, and we are starting from Monday.
Yes, we are starting on Monday. Yeah, I do agree. Having a producers workshop in the fiction lab is very good. Same with SEAFIC, who we are going over now to do. Hold on, where is my cue sheet? Anyway, yeah, go ahead, do.
Okay.
SEAFIC, I just wanted to mention that SEAFIC is undergoing a change. So you have Seed Lab now. So maybe talk about the difference between the two. So.
Yeah, thank you for having me to talk about SEAFIC. And actually, it's great timing that for me to get to talk about SEAFIC because we do have this new lab called Seed Lab. But maybe just a bit of context, I'll talk about the script lab first, which is what SEAFIC has been doing since 2016. And since 2016, we've had 4 editions of SEAFIC Script Lab. So the aim of the Script Lab is to advance, strengthen, and refine the projects that are coming out of Southeast Asia. And usually this is a project that is attached with teams of directors and producers. And the aim is that we want the scripts and the projects, after going through SEAFIC, that they would be ready to find international co-production or international funding that could take it to the next step for their project to be realized. And so that's what we've been doing with 4 editions. And how we do that is through 3 sessions each year. And each year we select 5 projects, and those 3 sessions will be split into 2. The main one is with the directors, working with script consultant, script mentor, Franz Rodenkirchen, who's very familiar, of course, with Torino Film Lab. And we're lucky to have him here in Southeast Asia. And the directors will be working on their scripts with Franz, and they'll be working on it together with each other. While they're doing that, the producers will be having a producers workshop with Producer and Guillaume Menge, who is the head of Producer, coordinates the producers workshop. The producers workshop is really good as well because in the producers workshop we have lectures on very important topics such as international co-production, funding, festivals, labs, project markets, and all the way to sales and distribution as well. And so Gale, of course, you're very familiar with this as well because you went through it with us last year. Gale had the project with Zurich Chan called Greyhouse. And yes, and
we had a very productive time.
Yes, but very intensive 8 months, right, in 3 sessions. The first session was more directed towards the directors because COVID, usually it's the other way around. Like the first session, we have the directors and the producers come in, as well as the mentors from all around. But because of COVID, we had to switch it. And then it's the second session where we have the producers and the directors together. And the third session is less focused on scripts, but more focused on pitching. And that's because we have the main pitching event that coincides with our SEAFIC open house event, which is a public event that we held. So with the open house event is also a very good one, because we do the pitching with the 5 projects where they'll pitch in front of the juries, and they'll get to compete for the main award, the SEAFIC award, but not only do we have the pitching event, we also have like the panelists, the screenings, and also this great program that we have called Open Fair, where we invite industry experts from various institutions to meet with local filmmakers, sort of a meet and greet kind of thing. And so, I mean, COVID last year, we didn't get to do that physically, but we got to do it online, which was also very, very good and very productive. And, but because of COVID, that brings me to what we're doing now, which is called Cfx Seed Lab, which we had to scale down our program quite a bit. But that doesn't mean it's any less important. And so from Cfx Script Lab to Seed Lab, now we're focusing less on the script, or it's actually not project-based at all. It's more focused on shorts filmmakers who have not had a feature project or any script or anything that they've presented internationally. It's sort of bridging the gap between it's a sort of a bridge between shorts filmmakers to the script development stage. And the reason why we wanted to do this in such a way is because when we were doing, each year we do the script lab, and we realize that not all filmmakers, but some filmmakers, when they get to the very end of the lab, it's only then when they realize that they sometimes during the sessions they go through these questions. They have these questions that is very hard to answer, and it's only the end of the 8-month intensive script development session that they realize what it is they're trying to do with their script. And that's good, but you kind of have to start over after 8 months. So we've recognized that that's something that we need to try to fix, try to help out, and so that's where the idea for Seed Lab came from. Is that so we want to work with shorts filmmakers that they want to do feature films, but they also need to try to figure out what it is that they want to do, and so we're hoping that that's what that is going to help push along. And that we have an open call for that right now. It's going to run until October 1st, and it's a program purely for shorts filmmakers, which means that, like I said, if you have made feature films, or feature films of any genre, if you've had a script that presented anywhere international, this isn't the lab for you. And of course, our requirements are quite stringent. So if anyone is interested, I highly recommend to look at our website for the eligibilities and qualifications, of course. And I guess I'll talk about now what we have planned for the script lab, the Seed Lab. But the Seed Lab is, it's not going to be as intensive as the script lab. It's going to be more relaxed. And it has a lot of therapy sessions aspects to it. So we have 2 sessions, and the first session is going to be December 4th through the 9th. And it's going to be focused on getting to know the filmmakers. We'll be watching their short films. And then it's going to be sharing sessions. And it's really to find out like who you are and who you want to be as a filmmaker going forward. And the second session, right now we're hoping that it's going to take place physically in Phuket, which is where we're aiming for early March. But that physical session, it's going to be a continuation of what we had in the program in the first session. But also there will be, we'll discuss about how you will find producers as a shorts filmmaker, how you'll find producers, and also how you'll maybe start pitching as well. So that's what we have going on for Seed Lab. And just like Script Lab, Seed Lab, we only select 5 filmmakers for the program. You don't need a producer. You don't need a script. You do need short films, at least 2 short films for us to see. And there's quite a hefty list of reputable film festivals that at least one short film has to have gone to. And then, yeah, that's what we have going on for Cfx Seed Lab. Do you have any other questions, Gale? Like any more specific ones?
Maybe later on in the talk, you did quite say most of I wanted to ask. But yeah, it is very important to have, a shorts to feature lab because it is quite a leap. And yeah, I feel like if I can apply again, no. But yeah, please do check out the eligibility because it's quite long. Now we're gonna go to we're gonna go to Torino Film Lab. So Miss Angelica has a video that she wants to show first. So can we please put up the video? Yep. So Torino Film Lab started in 2008. It's one of the longest running film labs that I know. So please, Angelica, talk us through the many different programs and workshops and funding available in TFL.
Yeah, hello everybody. Torino Film Lab is an international laboratory that supports talents from all around the world. And we support talents on different levels with audiovisual training and development, on production and distribution funds. From the program and training point of view, we have 3 main programs, which are Script Lab, Feature Lab, and Series Lab. The first ones, Script Lab and Feature Lab, they are aimed at feature films, while Series Lab works on TV series projects. Script Lab is the program that is 8 months long and that works with the projects at the development stage. Applicants must apply on a treatment, and during 3 residential workshops, they work the development of the script. So at the end of the program, they will have they will have a full script. And after the 3 workshops, we organize a networking production event where we invite the filmmakers from all over the world to present projects and to have one-to-one meetings with our Script Lab is open to 20 projects that work in groups of 5 project leads each. So we have 5 groups, and each of them is led by an experienced tutor that works on the development of the project. Whereas as Torino Film Lab is extremely important to work in a community. So when you join one of our training programs, do not work just on your skills on your projects, but also work on the other project in the group. So it's important to share feedback, suggestions, and experiences with the other participants as well. Script Lab has also a parallel program that is aimed at training new story editors. So every year we welcome 5 professionals, and basically they work in parallel to the projects. Each one of them works in a group with the tutor. So this training is a combination between pedagogics. So there is a tutor that teaches these professionals how to become story editors, but it's also a combination of practical work in group sessions with the tutors and the projects that join Script Lab. So this is just a Script Lab. We also have a Feature Lab. That is, again, an annual program for creative teams of directors and producers working on their first or second feature. Here, the projects must be a little bit more advanced than in Script Lab, because you need to have a script already, and basically during the workshops you will work in receiving supports on different fields: production, financing, marketing, sales, audience engagement. So the teams meet experts from these different fields in order to develop the best project possible. Again, here you have 3 workshops, residential ones, and you attend the final event, the meeting event, together with the Script Lab projects. Feature Lab projects can also apply for the co-production funds that we have. And I will tell you later about that. And the last program we have is Series Lab. This is aimed at TV series projects at an early development stage. We accept 9 European projects, and again, they go through a journey of 3 workshops where they work with the tutors in order to develop and boost their concepts as much as possible. Series Lab ends with a final pitch presentation in one of the biggest co-production markets in Europe. This year, our annual program will end in MIA. That is a co-production forum that takes place in Rome. But in the previous editions, we ended in Series Mania, which is another important European market. So these are the 3 annual programs with the 3 residential workshops and a final pitching session. Parallel, we also have some intensive workshops that we organize several times during the year. They are intensive workshops, meaning that you apply just for the workshop. You work with your tutor for 4 intensive days, and that's it. We have both residential workshops that are under the hat of TFL Extended, and we have online workshops under TFL Next. This new branch of activities called TFL Next started because of the pandemic, because of course we had to move everything online, but we discovered that actually we have a big demand of online training programs, and that's why we decided to continue. The difference in terms of applicants between the programs and these residential workshops and online workshop is that basically the 3 main programs are co-financed by Creative Europe. meaning that we have more seats for European participants than for international ones, but we still have some seats for non-European participants. So I encourage everybody to apply anyhow. While for TFL Extended and TFL Next, we don't have any kind of limit. So people from all over the world are more than welcome. We don't have any kind of restriction in terms of acceptance. And so let's say that they are also the programs that are more successful for our international talents. So this is from the training part. As I was mentioning before, we also have some funds. We have two funds. Co-production fund that it consists in awards of 50,000 euros to boost the realization of feature films, and as said, just the projects that join Feature Lab can benefit on that. We also have Audience Design Fund, that this is open to all filmmakers in the world, and it offers distribution support to European producers and sales agents working on international co-produced feature films. There are 3 grants of 40,000 euros, plus a dedicated session with TFL audience designers, consultants, meaning that you will be helped in finding the best and innovative strategies to reach your audiences since the beginning and the development of the movie. This is part of the Torino Film Lab, because we also have some special programs that are for target participants. We have one program from French, Italian participants, another one for Arabic countries. But I mean, I don't want to give too many details, as I mean, this is not something that might be interesting for you. And just one more thing about the meeting event. That is our final event that we organize always in Turin in November, that it's linked to the Torino Film Festival. And basically it's a 2 days event where we have many decision makers coming from all over the world, and that had the chance to know and meet our projects. So it's an industry event. And as you can imagine, last year we had to move it online. And for this year, we want to offer an hybrid version of the meeting event, meaning that there will be part of the event taking place live in Turin, and there will be after that an online event that will be held on a big and structured platform. And that's it. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Angelica. So before I move on to the next question, I just wanted to give some practical information to compare the 3 labs. Full Circle Lab happens for 2 weeks for free. I think the offline lab was all expense paid, flights, accommodation, everything. Same with SEAFIC. So it happens in 8 months, 3 sessions, all expense paid. But the main difference is that TFL does not have this free. There is a tuition fee, and also they do not cover flights, if I'm correct, Angelica.
You have to cover flights, yes. Accommodation and meals are part of the fee that you have to pay.
Right, and then there's 3 sessions, so you have to go to Europe 3 times. But a tip for Filipino filmmakers is that if ever you do get into Torino Film Lab, you can apply to FDCP's International Film Studies Assistance Program, or IFSAP. So that was one of the way that I was able to afford to study for my story editor training. Okay, so next, I wanted to ask about how important it is for a filmmaker to attend these kinds of programs outside of getting help in fixing the treatment or the script. Are there more added benefits, as in their career as a filmmaker? Maybe we can start with Ju for SEAFIC.
Yes. Yes, besides the script getting developed, your project getting developed, there's definitely the added benefit of being able to SEAFIC. We gather filmmakers from Southeast Asia, international filmmakers from Southeast Asia, as well as the mentors together in Thailand. When we could do it physically, we gather them in Thailand here. So the very obvious benefit is that you get to not only learn from the mentors, but you also get to learn from your peers, your fellow filmmakers in the context of their countries and how they're able to produce their films, the journey that they had to take, and where they're thinking about going. And of course, the mentors that are there, they're there to support you, not only just for your project, but for you as a filmmaker as well. Very much SEAFIC as well is very dedicated to seeing that our filmmakers go beyond SEAFIC and succeed beyond SEAFIC as well. And a lot of our projects do. So, for example, Peterson Vargas, some nights I feel like walking. After SEAFIC, he gets to present the project through to Hong Kong Asia Film Financing Forum, and that was through SEAFIC HAF's the SEAFIC HAF award that he received during SEAFIC open house, the pitching event, and just on a general idea, I think like going to labs and training platforms, it's important because I think it's a very when you develop your project or develop yourself as a filmmaker, sometimes you have this question whether or not I'm ready for the next level or the next step, and these platforms, these forums, are the answer to that. You may have an idea of where you want to go, but sometimes there's not a clear path. But there is there is sort of a path, that you can take, and it could be, you take your film, your script, develop it at SEAFIC, and then the next thing is that maybe you take it to Feature Lab at Torino, for example, and then you can access the funding that Torino has, and stuff like that. So it's part of the steps that where you can build your project and get it realized the way you want. And I think for Southeast Asia, not every country, or not everybody has the knowledge to do these things. But going to these labs, going to these trainings, provide you the knowledge of getting to know all the resources that are out there through the mentors and through the workshops that we hold.
Yeah, thank you. So same question for Ms. Angelica. For projects, specifically Southeast Asian projects that go to Torino Film Lab, what can filmmakers gain outside of just the treatment, the project?
Yeah, I mean, after what my colleague said, that I think it's the leitmotif of all the training experience that filmmakers can make. At Torino Film Lab, you also have the chance to have an event where you can meet the industry. So you can also find partners for your project. And of course, working with experienced tutors and study editors can help you also to find a method, a way to develop and to work on all the projects that you're going to develop in the future. So not just on your own project, but also on other that you will develop in the future. And of course, as we said, if you join Torino Film Lab, is forever. So you become part of the community that it's a family at the end. So you will meet these professionals in other markets, in other events. So it's kind of finding good friends coming from all over the world in all the places that you will be in the future. So
yeah, thank you. So next we have Miss Isabella. Same question if you have more to add, but also I wanted to hear about how you chose to enter, join the team of one of the projects that was in Full Circle Lab. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So, like for me, everything was said. For me, it's basically, of course, beside the obvious help for the project, it's networking and sometimes making friends for life. So this is very, very important. Me myself, I did Ave as well as Angelica, I guess. So we also know that this is something like you just enter the family and you stay with the family forever. So also a platform of exchanging ideas, and for our lab we welcome newcomers like fresh filmmakers, but we also work with a very experienced filmmaker. So I think it's very, very important, and that's why it's also important to meet on site when beside the group or group sessions and the individual consultation, you also have dinners, and you can talk together and exchange the experience, because it's even with the mentors, it's not really about teaching or giving lectures. It's more about exchanging experiences. So and me as a consultant producer, I'm also learning from the project, and it's very important for me. And very often you get hooked, as I did last year, to the project Peers. Because it was one of the projects. Of course, I love all of them, but somehow the team of Peers, which is probably watching us now, and hello. Somehow they reached to me, and of course I said yes, because I love the project a lot, and we ended up co-producing the film together. So we already secured the money from Polish Film Institute, but also from Hubert Bond's fund. And we secured our main cast, and we are going to shoot hopefully January, February. I hope I didn't spoil any secrets.
No, thank you. Thank you for sharing. So yeah, it is a chance to meet professionals who you might be able to work with in the future. So we have around 30 minutes left. I wanted to talk about, this wasn't in the discussion points, but I feel like this might be something interesting to our audience who are planning to apply. If you can talk about the selection process. I know that there are stages in the selection, like the first pass, the second pass, maybe even a third pass. So if you can talk about what is considered at each stage specifically, and how many readers do you have? Is it the same readers every year? How projects are being scored? Things like that. Maybe we can go with TFL first, since you have a lot of programs.
The same. I mean, it works in the same way for all the programs. So basically, first, all the projects, all the applications are read by a team of readers. Each project is read by 2 readers at least, and number of readers depends on the number of applications. We try to change the readers as much as possible. After, there is a selection coming from this first phase, and at that point there is a selection committee that starts to read the projects that are in this stage, and there is another step, the third one, where we select the projects that will be interviewed by the selection committee. So in order to deep a little bit the the understanding of the project, and to also know the filmmakers that applied, we interview the team, where the selection meeting can address questions in order to better understand what the project is about, what they want to achieve during the training program. I mean, when applying, when reading the applications, I think it's really important, of course, to explain and to give the sense of the story. So I always say we do not have to write long text, because long text doesn't mean good text. So better to focus on the description of the idea. And it's really important to understand also the intentions that there are behind the realization of the feature film of the TV series. So why you want to tell the story, which is your personal connection with the story, and why you are the right person to tell the story. So this is motivation. It's as much important as the story. All the programs are project based, meaning that we select the project. So even if the filmmakers behind do not have so much experience, it's fine for us.
Yeah, it's so I just wanted to summarize that the motivation is very important when you apply to Torino Film Lab. You have to motivation letter. I spent a long time in my motivation letter when I applied. Next, maybe we can go to Full Circle Lab. Isabella, please. You can, yeah.
Yes, well, for our development labs, we go kind of similar way. First, the first process is the first selection phase is made by FDCP, and then Full Circle Lab team gets the pre-selected projects, and then every project has. Let's say usually two readers, but sometimes there is a third person to kind of judge between the projects. We don't do the interviews, and when we are selecting the projects, of course, the motivation is very important, but also some kind of uniqueness in the projects. That's why we are open for all projects at every stage, from a very small treatment to full script, because we don't want to close the door. And also we welcome the fresh, brand new filmmakers, first-time directors, and very experienced filmmakers. So every year we choose 8 projects for feature lab and for series lab. And this year it was the first year this is the first year with Creative Producers Lab. And as I mentioned before, we receive a lot of great applications. So we decided to give additional free seats to the producers. And in this case, we accepted both, like producer with the project and without the projects, but basically we want to focus on talent, on talents, on the person, on the producer. So every day there will be a focus on different producer, and we will all discuss a talent. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. Now we go to Do with SEAFIC. SEAFIC has a big application package.
Yes.
Is there a document? Is there a document there that you look more, pay closer attention to versus all the other documents in that big package?
So yes and no, because every required material that is submitted to SEAFIC Script Lab is important, and we look at all of them. I mean, it wouldn't be there if it's not. Um, so maybe I'll tell you about the selection process first, and I think that'll answer some other questions. So during the script lab, once the deadline ends, of course there's a process of elimination for the non-eligible projects, and those could be that they're just not qualified according to our eligibility list, or they might have not adhered to our guidelines to the materials that they need to submit. If they're missing something, if they're short something, we just need to go through that process of elimination. And then we have a pool of projects that we will be sending to first a reading committee that usually is comprised of 3 people, 3 industry experts. And of course, every year it changes, but what doesn't change is that the reading committee, as well as our second stage, the script committee, they are all also mentors during our sessions as well. So the reading committee will first take a look at the projects and see whether or not that this is a project that can actually be made. Like, does it make sense in the budget wise? Do the producers, do they look like they know what they're doing? And is it reasonable enough that it's something that could be made? And then once the reading committee finishes that process, the rest are the shortlisted projects are sent to the script committee, and the script committee will read those projects. And this is the process where they will take a look at short films. They'll take a look at the previous films of the director. They'll take a look at the script. They'll take a look at the director's statement. I mean, the reading committee does all that too, but the script committee will take a look at them from a different lens, and this is whether or not they want to see these projects get made. And also, like, does it need the support of SEAFIC? And as I said before, the mentor, the committee members that are part of the reading and the script committee, they end up being mentors for the sessions. And this is important for SEAFIC because the projects that get selected, the 5 projects that get selected at the end, they'll get a chance to know why their project was selected. What did the mentor / selection committee see in their project, and what they think works, what they think doesn't work, and how they can move forward. For Seed Lab, though, Seed Lab has only one committee, and we just call it the selection committee. And it's comprised of me, Raymond, our executive director, and Gale Mengate, our the head of Producer and the coordinator for SEAFIC XPass. And for the Seed Lab, this is going to be our first time doing it, so we'll see. But for me, what's very important for Seed Lab is, of course, the short films. 2 short films that we require you to submit. And these short films, for me, it's important to see, like, if we can understand who you are as a filmmaker through them, and perhaps also what you want to do, what you want to be as a filmmaker moving forward. If there's a voice, or is there a style or something like that. We just want to be able to know who you are. Same thing goes for our statements. We have 2 statements that you're required to submit, and one is a statement of intent, which is 2 pages, and you have to answer questions about yourself as a filmmaker, like, why do you want to submit to Seed Lab? What are you passionate about? How do you consider yourself as a filmmaker? These are important questions for us to determine. essentially for us to figure out who you are as a filmmaker moving forward. And another question is like your cinematic influences. Like, what are your cinematic influences and why? Those are important for us. And this is all on our website, and you can check out.
That's about. Thank you so much, Du. I just wanted to point out that the director's statement or the filmmaker's statement is very, very important. This is where the therapy sessions are needed. Figuring out your voice, your who you are as a filmmaker is very important. So we actually opened the floor to questions now. There are questions coming in already, but there is one that I just want to answer, just for the sake of time, because we have around 20 minutes. 15 minutes. So are you considering online film labs for those that cannot access the physical labs due to the pandemic? So I just wanted to say that all the labs right now are online ever since last year, and will continue to be online until further noticed. So if you physically cannot go to the lab, they do not disqualify you. We are, working it out as we go along. So another question here is, what was that one? Can you name some notable qualities of recent projects and or talents that you have accepted for your labs? So recent projects that were notable projects. Maybe we can start with Torino Film Lab with Angelica.
Well, you have to consider that now at festivals and in markets, you see movies that maybe joined Torino Film Lab many years ago. So at the moment, it's difficult to say which are the projects that might look more original, because they're really, really at early development stage. What I can tell you is that, from this year, for example, in Script Lab, we want to give space to comedies, meaning that we encourage filmmakers to send comedies. This doesn't mean that we just want only comedies, but that we encourage people to send comedies as well. So, because sometimes hard time movies, they are more drama. So we receive really few applications of comedy movies, but we started our work in comedies last year. No, actually this year. It's not this year, and it has been really successful. So we want to work on that and more. And in terms of topics, we don't have we accept any kind of topics, themes, genres, so we don't have any kind of restriction. All projects are welcome.
Thank you. That actually answers another question here, that what stories or subject matters do you usually encounter? So maybe I can ask both questions to Cfx. So you already mentioned a notable project that you accepted. You mentioned Peterson's project. So what was the notable quality of that project, and what kind of subject matter are you looking for in the next? Well, you can't answer that for Seed Lab, but
Well, what's important for Cfx is that the genre doesn't matter, the kind of film it is, whether or not it's art film or commercial film, mainstream comedy, horror, that doesn't really matter to Cfx. What's important is that, it's a filmmaker driven film, which means it's something that, the director, we can see who they are, and we get a sense of that this is a film that comes from them, and another thing is that I think that there's some international potential for the film as well, that these are projects that we really take a look at. And the thing about projects that we, these sort of projects, the thing that we can tell whether or not this is a project that this is a filmmaker that they care about their films is like Gale, like you said, Angelica, you said this as well, is through their director statement, their written materials. We'll get to see that quite clearly, and that actually is very important for SEAFIC because Gale, like you said, it's like the roadmap for how we can help the filmmakers, and I don't think that will change for Seed Lab. I think for Seed Lab it'll be just like that as well.
Okay, thank you, Joe. For Isabella, I wanted to ask that since you are focusing on Philippines or Southeast Asia, the projects that you are getting are might be kind of similar in a way. So how does that affect your decision making in choosing a project?
Not at all. They are not at all similar. Because I was myself surprised with the richness of themes and genres, and what I'm really passionate about is that you are guys not afraid to go into the genre cinema. And it's like we receive a lot of horrors, but also we receive a lot of art house films. And since we don't have any special focus, we accept all, and also our lineup consists from on one side artistic film, on the other side commercial films. And the third, let's say, leg is the genre films. So these are the kind of free ways we see our selection, which is not any kind of program. It's just happening. Since we are already since 3 years, we have some titles from the first edition, which were made very fast and already reached the international audience. So we have Fangirl, Baba It Baril, the great animation project, which in my mind, and now I'm so sorry I was wrong, was more kind of regional film, but it ended up on Netflix being sold internationally, which is Hayopka. Hello, Avid, if you're watching. And on the artistic side, just to mention John Denver Trending or Dancing the Tides. This one was, also selected to many other labs. So we are crossing fingers for our alumni.
Yes, I do remember those films from Full Circle Lab. So there is no distinction for anyone asking. You can send any kind of project to Full Circle Lab. They will accept it. They will read it. Isabella, would you say that since you said you get a lot of art house films, would the commercial films now stand out, or pay closer attention to them or not?
Could you repeat, because I had some difficulties with.
No, I said that since you do get a lot of art house films, do the commercial projects now stand out in your group?
If they stand out, I think all the selected projects stand out in a way. But as I said, we are not afraid to welcome commercial projects. We have especially this lab, First Cut Lab, which is designed for the projects in the editing stage. And I think for commercial projects, First Cut Lab is a lab they can really benefit from, because it's super important for commercial projects to be edited in the very very precise way, to make the projects to be accessible for audience. So I think this lab is very, very useful for all the commercial projects.
Yeah, great. So we have one last question since we are about to end. Can you give a bit of advice on starting filmmakers? I mean, you always get this question, advice to starting filmmakers who want to apply to join the film labs like yours. Let's start with Ju for SEAFIC.
For SEAFIC, since we're accepting applications for Seed Lab, my advice would be to really look at our requirements, really look at what we're about, which you can all find this on the website, and I guess to start early, to try to apply, to try to get all your materials together. But like I said, when it comes to writing the statements or writing any of the materials, make sure that it's realistic. You know, it's something that you're always thinking that you want to think that you want to be convincing the people that reading it that this is something that can get made and this is something that you care about. So the statements and all that stuff. For me, I want to be able to see the person behind what they're writing. So I guess that's something that is my advice.
Yes, thank you. So read the requirements and do not submit at the end, at the deadline. Okay, let's go to Torino Film Lab. Final advice.
Copy and paste his answer. Yeah, it's really, really important to understand from the application your passion, your motivation in the project. And of course, if you have doubts about how to do the application and the requirements and the criteria, it's better to ask to the staff and to the Torino Film Lab instead of making mistakes. So if you are not sure about something, be sure that you take your time to prepare the application and to address all the questions that you may have on time. Do not do it the day before, because as you can imagine, all the questions and all the problems are arriving the day before. So maybe the team and the staff won't be able to answer on time. So you will lose the occasion to do the application properly. Consider that, I mean, there is a huge competition, big competition, especially for non-European countries. So it's better to work on the application properly.
Yeah, that's a really good point that you can ask questions. There are people who can help you with the application and the organization itself. So please do send emails ahead of time, ask questions. Okay, we go to the last Full Circle Lab with Isabella.
Yeah, so I guess everything was said, but my last advice or two advices would be, well, in our profession, everything is personal. So let us see the person behind the project. So that would be the first one. And the second, as Angelina said, there is a huge competition. So don't be afraid to reapply next year. Like, once you are not selected, it doesn't mean your project is, not worth supporting. It's just the competition is super high. So try different labs or come back next year.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. If you get rejected once, that really doesn't mean much. It just means that there were other more prepared projects than you. You just have to really take your time and apply again. And the thing is that these people who do read your projects, they get familiar with your name, that, oh, this person applied again and there's growth in the project now. So you might get selected this round. So yeah, I guess that's the end of our talk. Maybe I can also give a bit of advice for those who want to apply to labs, because I've applied to a lot. Look for what makes you as a filmmaker, your distinct voice, what makes you special as a filmmaker. I know it's very hard to answer, but once you find that, then you can highlight that in all of your applications, and then it becomes easier, I guess, to stand out. I think it was Guillaume who said that the goal is to keep your application at the top of the pile. So that's a last advice. Thank you so much for listening to us for the last 70 minutes.
Thank you so much, Angelica, Isabella, for a very informative session, and of course to Gale for moderating this discussion. It is truly interesting to learn more from our panelists themselves on how effective film labs are in exploring collaboration and opportunities locally and internationally in making films. We would also like to thank our participants for joining us here today. Please let us know your thoughts about our session by answering our Ific survey form that is linked in our chat box. Thank you, keep safe everyone, and we hope to see you in our next sessions. Again, this is the International Film Industry Conference Online 2021.
Thank you very much to our speaker for a very insightful talk, and to our dear audience for tuning in. Keep safe, and we hope to see you in our next sessions. For more details on Ific, please check our official social media accounts. Facebook page, www.facebook.com/IficPHOfficial. Twitter, @IficPHOfficial. And Instagram, IficPHOfficial. Check out the full lineup of public sessions and masterclasses for this year's Film Industry Conference. Visit our website at fdcp.ph/Ific.